Hey everyone, Deathgrip here. Welcome back to the Deathgrip Builds channel. And today we're going to be focusing on building a Portal themed PC. Portal's a game that I grew up playing both 1 and 2, and it's just a really nostalgic and really cool game. And I've kind of had the idea to do this for a while now, but haven't found the right peripherals to do so. So I finally came across this Shuttle Sup D case, and it is definitely a behemoth in terms of the weight. It's got a lot of metal parts in it, but it's really high quality, and I was really surprised because I picked it up for with tax and shipping on a deal from Newegg. I think it was like 113 bucks. So really good, solid deal for this one, and I'm excited to build in it, especially because it's like a flipped orientation. So actually, everything's on. You put it on your left side of your desktop, and so the motherboard is rotated 90 degrees, and it's going to be an interesting build for sure. And then the star of the show here is going to be this RX 9070 XT. And this is the Steel Legend model from ASRock. And I've heard really good things about this particular model in terms of being able to undervolt and achieve much higher clock speeds than most of the other models. So excited to play around with that. And it's just definitely going to be a beast of a card. To pair with it, we've got this Ryzen 7 7800 X3E. Excellent pairing for this GPU. Um, and that's going to be going in this X870 Pro RS Wi-Fi motherboard from ASRock as well. I've heard they've been having some trouble with X3D CPUs getting fried on them, but I think it's mainly just the 9000 series. I don't know of any reports of the 7000 series CPUs being fried by this motherboard. So we should be good there, and we'll get it up to the latest BIOS just to be sure. But for power, we've got this Red Dragon 850 watt 80 plus gold power supply. It's the Red Dragon Master. So I've never used any of their power supplies before, but it is up there. It's a B on the tier list, so I trust it. And then for RAM, I picked up this black kit of Corsair Dominator Platinum RGB. It's 32 gigabytes of 6200 megahertz RAM, and I picked it up for around $100 locally, so that was a really good deal. And then secondly, I got it for a specific reason. Some of you guys might be wondering why I got black with an all white build. So we'll talk about that later. And then lastly, for storage, we got this 2 terabyte Lexar drive. And I think it's like a JSP 900, I think is the model on that. And for cooling the CPU, we got this Thermalright Wonder Vision AIO. It's 360 millimeters, and it's got a curved screen, so that's going to be really interesting. I picked it up on a deal for I think 160 bucks for Amazon Prime Day. So yeah, let's get started.
The first thing we're going to tackle here is the assembly of the level walls that's going to go inside. So I didn't get the full assembly where I put the LED strip in because I kind of went through several iterations, but I have the 3D print files down below as well as the LED strip and the connector cable that I used. But you can see me here kind of struggling to get everything aligned, but just make sure you don't get anything like dust or crumbs or anything like that stuck on the backside of the decal, because once the light goes on, you will be able to see the shadow of whatever debris is on the back of it. So just be careful with that. I would probably not follow the installation steps that I took exactly in the same order that I did, because sticking the level sign inside the wall caused 2 problems by doing it early on. So I'll talk about that in a second, but you can see here how I have that recessed channel that is in the 3D model that I was able to run the LEDs from, and they terminate to this barrel jack and then to the USB cable that I mentioned earlier. And then to stick them to the case, I just used this 3M tape. Then I just was able to install it. But what I would do is don't put the sticky tape on yet, just feed the cable through like I did here, but don't stick it on yet, because the tolerance that I have for this is quite tight, and the fans kind of need to sit down and then slide in, as you'll see here in a second. And if you put this in too early, you could have a problem with that. And I ended up, as you'll see, having to kind of pull it back off of the wall a little bit there, put the fan in, and then push it back on the wall. So that was the first problem that it created, and I'll talk about the second one later, but just kind of save this for a later step. The next thing we're going to tackle here is the RAM, and this is a before and after so you can see what it looks like side by side. And the inspiration for this is in game, there's this little indicator on the wall and the floor for when you've completed the level. And so that's why I kind of wanted some of the black RAM, so that way I could have it mimic that line going through the floor. It's kind of a darker-ish color, and then it's got the individual LEDs that uh, match what's in the game. So I thought that was a really cool trick. And here's a complete finished stick. And now we'll go through and show you the process of the actual making of this RAM. So for just the aperture logo change, it'll probably take you about 3 minutes worth of work per stick, and all you need is a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and a rag to rub away the ink on the top of the RAM stick. So just get a dab of rubbing alcohol on the end of your towel, and then you can kind of start scrubbing away. At first, it's not going to seem like much is going on, but then you can kind of start to see after about 30 seconds that it's wearing away. And you can see here that it's thinning out. And you can just keep scrubbing at it. If you have to switch sides, flip it around, go ahead and do that if you need to. I ended up doing that here to get a better grip on it and a better angle on scrubbing the rest of it off. And then it's pretty easy to get the rest of it off from there, and it's clear and ready to go. Then what you want to do next is take the decal that I provided in the description. This is printed off on transparent vinyl paper, and I will actually provide that link in the description as well. But just carefully remove it here. It's going to take a while to get the actual placement correct on the RAM, so take your time, don't rush it, and be a little bit careful because you don't want to damage scratch the ink off the top of the decal. So just take your time. And you can see here, I struggle with it for a little while before finally getting it in the right place that I want. But once it was done, I'm really satisfied with the result, and we can move on to actually skinning the rest of the RAM in white vinyl. Also, if you're following along with this tutorial and are getting to the step the same as I am, make sure that you put the Aputure logo decal on the opposite way of the direction that I have it on this one, because the RAM logo, if it was just in a default case and it wasn't, rotated 90 degrees, it wouldn't necessarily matter which direction you put the RAM. But since it's rotated 90 degrees, it's horizontal, meaning that either it's going to be upside down or it's going to be right side up. So I didn't realize this whenever I was putting together the RAM, and so I actually installed it and ended up having it be upside down and had to come back and just take the decal off and flip it around. So if you're following along and you're going to use the same case, flip the decal around opposite of the direction that I have it placed in the video. Now we can move on to installing the white vinyl on the outside of the RAM. And if you're going to be doing this, just be very careful with the depth that you're cutting into the vinyl with your X-Acto knife, because there are lots of little surface mounted devices, SMDs, capacitors, all kinds of little tiny pieces that are soldered onto the boards of the RAM, and if you're not careful, you can scratch them. So just make sure you only use the tip of your X-Acto knife when trimming around the edges, and that's why it's really important to use a fresh blade when you're going for really precise trims like this. So make sure you get a fresh blade for this, so there's not any weird resistance that causes you to have to put more pressure or to go deeper, and you should be fine. forgot to mention these in the intro, but these are the cables from insource.com, and if you haven't seen them before, they make really good custom cable extensions, and you get to decide your own colors if you want to. You can choose from preset options, or you can download the Excel file and edit as much as you'd like to, and then you just submit that along with your order as a PDF, and he just makes it and ships it to you within about 2 weeks. So these are really cool, as you can see, and I've used them quite a few times in the past. Maybe one that you would probably remember if you've watched a lot of my shorts would be the Venusaur build. I used those in that build, so they're pretty well priced. It was like, I think $54 shipped for CPU, 2 GPU, and a motherboard 24-pin cable. So pretty good deal considering you get to pick your own colors and all that. And yeah, just be sure to check them out if you're looking for some truly custom cable extensions. And here's the second reason why you probably shouldn't install the portal level sign at the same time that I did. And there's this little piece that is kind of towards the left edge of where the sign is at this orientation. And I didn't realize this before I bought the case, and it's mainly meant to cover up the motherboard cable, and so I probably wouldn't have even needed to buy the cable extension that I did for the 24-pin, but I didn't even realize that beforehand. So it is what it is, and as a result I ended up not being able to fit the motherboard here. So you can see I have to peel back the sign, remove this little piece here, and then install the motherboard. So probably what I would do is just the entire process before this, just make sure you keep the little plastic cover over the pieces of the sticky tape, and then just leave it dangling kind of to the side, install your motherboard, get your cables routed, and then go ahead and put the plastic piece in, and then the portal level sign. Or if you want to, you could take my files for the 3D print as well as the decal for the sign itself and just scale them down. You just have to make sure that the channel inside is the same width, so that way the LEDs can still fit inside. But just thought I'd mention that there. And now I'm going to install this cable cover here, and I really thought this would be important because the motherboard in this case being rotated 90 degrees, I knew that right up against the main like edge glass panel that you'd be looking at from this kind of front angle, you would see all of the cables plugged into the motherboard at the bottom. And so I just thought I'd tidy that up, and it's an opportunity to make a customizable piece as well. So I first 3D printed the model, and then I made decals to put on the front, and then I also took just some white vinyl and put it around the edges of the little piece there. So just makes for a really clean look. I also wanted to talk about the case for a minute because I was really impressed with the build quality considering the price. There's a lot of metal on this case. I mean, most of it is metal, and it comes in normally under like $150, I think around the $125 price point. So the tax and shipping under 150 bucks. And it's just really good build quality. This company, I guess I didn't even realize, was the sister company of Lee & Lee. So, you know, they've got good quality, and I just really enjoyed building in this case as it was unique. And really the only gripe I had about it was the slot up top where you're supposed to put your screwdriver in order to screw in the GPU to the PCIe slots. It was that same kind of thing that I dealt with on the Expedition 33 case, and I just had to use a really long extended screwdriver to get back there. Kind of a minor annoyance, but all in all, that was really the only gripe that I had with it. And it's a really fun case to build in. However, with Thermalright here on this WonderVision AIO, I was a bit let down because the actual magnetic part of the screen that goes on over the pump, I was expecting to be able to rotate it to whatever angle I wanted to, but this one specifically is kind of keyed in a certain way that you can only have it go basically in this orientation, up or down. You can't rotate it to the side. And normally you can with the magnetic faceplate LCD screens on the Thermalright AIOs, but I understand, probably it has to do with they were concerned about the screen like interfering with the GPUs. So it is what it is, but I just kind of wish that you still could rotate it all around like the Trix one, but this screen is longer than the Trix screen, so I'm guessing that's probably why they did it. I actually ended up liking this orientation better, so it all worked out in the end. This is the USB to barrel jack connector that I talked about towards the beginning, and make sure you grab the one in the description, or at least make sure it's a 12 volt capable one, because that is what this LED strip takes, is a 12 volt input, and normal USB input I believe is like 3.3 volts, so make sure you get the right cable. And that wraps up the build portion of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you all for watching and for subscribing, supporting me in general, and enjoy the B-roll.